on their resolution 2020-13 entitled Resolution in Opposition to Continuing COVID Emergency Executive Orders from Lansing. I've talked to a couple of the commissioners personally. It's hard for me to understand how this resolution with that title on it can go on for 13 paragraphs before we get to all those whereases. There are 2 of them that refer to requesting that our Merck district be changed. The body of this is basically a threat to the governor and a call to civil disobedience in a time where we are enduring some very challenging political divisions that have caused problems all over this country when people are encouraged to get up and demand that things change in their direction. I ask once again if each of the county commissioners actually read this entire resolution, and if you are still to this day verifying that everything in this resolution is something that you would say again today. I particularly reference the fact that the resolutions on the bottom are very, very limited in terms of what was printed in the whereases. I find this, I would prefer to not go over all of the things that I find objectionable. I just want to know if you have any second thoughts about what you did. And I'd like to hear from each of the commissioners.
So, Patty, as you know, the commissioners have their own if they want to speak to this, but traditionally, it's not necessary to respond to public comment. But if any commissioner wants to respond, that would be your prerogative.
I will take that as I stand by my statement that this resolution in opposition to continuing COVID emergency executive orders from Lansing, and then goes on to talk about civil disobedience, is something that you feel proud and serves well the people of this county. Thank you.
Patty, next, any other public comment?
No, of course.
Of course. Okay. Of course.
Carrie Mullins, Alcona County Republican Chair, and let's see. Basically what I'm here for today, there's twofold. One, we're doing the Second Amendment thing, but that's going to come later. I wanted to hand these out to each of you guys. These are the Republican voter guides, and since you are Republicans, I thought maybe you'd like to read our official broadcast for who we're liking on the ballot. Anybody else want a copy?
Did you get one?
Did you get
Carrie? Carrie?
Did I?
What did Adam do wrong?
Somebody.
It's okay.
You guys like one?
It could have been on purpose.
You like one as well? Anybody else?
You need to know who to vote for.
Well, yeah, like you don't know who to vote for, but this was something that I put together that I got a call from Tammy Carlone last night about it. She's running for State Board of Education, and she was impressed with everything all the way down the ballot, the nonpartisans, the proposals and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that she liked about it. But basically, again, my offer stands October 24th. The fourth Monday of this month. October 26th is our next meeting. Open invitation to anybody who wants to come and speak who's a candidate. more than welcome to come to our meeting. We meet 7 PM at the Chosen Ranch Community Center in Lincoln. Y'all are invited, it's open to the public. We're not enforcers, we can't deny people the right to peaceably assemble. At the same time, you know, masks, social distancing, there's room for that, so that's available. And I also have, I'm hoping, the capability to do the free conference call, which will be the video. So hopefully my laptop, I can actually get to work with the Wi-Fi this time around. But I'll broadcast that stuff on our ACR Facebook page. And that's what we're doing here in a nutshell.
Okay. Any other public comment?
I think I am. I'm Monica Spears, I'm the secretary of the Chamber of Commerce. We were told, I wasn't here for the last meeting, so I'm kind of going blind, please bear with me. The chamber is unable, due to everything that has happened this year, we need help paying for the rent. We were told to go and look for grants. Ben, the president, went through 1,000 different grants from federal, state, local, private sector, and he has been unable to find one that is still available, applicable, or eligible for our situation. I know, Craig, you did get the forms, because I was, yeah. So at this time, we don't believe the chamber will be able to find a grant to help with our rent. Is it possible to reduce our rent for 2020 and the upcoming year, or any other options we can discuss? I would like to keep the chamber office to continue to promote our Alcona businesses, but unfortunately the cost of our current rent is likely too high to do that effectively. So I don't, yeah, that's that.
If I can just add on, so does the board remember that? So they did come in, ask for that, we asked them to find that, so I think it's now, for us, at some point, where finance can take a look at it, we can see if there's anything in there we can do. I think that'd be appropriate, if that works. We'll see if there's some money there we can do something with.
Okay.
There may be a possibility, maybe through EDC could do a little help out with something out of there.
How much is the rent?
2,400 a year, correct? 200 a month? Is that right, Carolyn?
25.50 sounds what I thought.
Okay.
I thought it was 25.50.
Can you clarify it was this year and next year? Or were you talking about next year's rent? Has this year's been paid?
This year's has not been paid. I believe we paid at the end of the year. Is it possible to reduce our rent for 2020 and the upcoming year? Because I can tell you, as a member of the chamber, we have lost 40 members of the Chamber of Commerce because of COVID. People cannot pay memberships, and we are working to help them with that. As a side note, if you own a business, please get with me. But yeah, we're doing our best. We've cut down on our post-it, we've cut down on a lot of our outgoing bills, and this is our biggest one, and we need help.
All right,
Okay,
we needed to know that there wasn't any other options, so,
Yeah, there's no other option.
okay. All right, any other public comment?
One more from me, now not as the Secretary of the Chamber of Commerce, I need to make that very clear. I find it, I don't know if the county is aware of the county commissioners, if you guys are aware of this, but we're trying also to help promote businesses in Alcona County. And one of those ways is starting this weekend, we're doing a hashtag check out Alcona's fall. And you can go around to all the area businesses in the chamber, or all the businesses in Alcona County, and we're trying to get like local people, Alcona people, to help support us through the winter, because if we don't have the local support, then all of these businesses are going to dry up and go away. And I just wanted to make sure that, you know, you guys knew that this event was coming up, and yeah, that's all.
Give a little more plug of it, so what's it gonna be? Just tell me what it's about and.
Okay, well, I didn't know if I could. So as an example, Harrisville businesses, we're setting up areas outside of our, or inside of our businesses where you can come in and you will take a selfie, or we can take a picture of you, and it's got a pretty fall, like, decoration around you, and then you hashtag, check out Alcona's Fall, and, that gets out into social media through Instagram and Facebook, and other younger people, if they wanna use the other ones, they can. So, and that's from the 9th of October to the 31st, and it's to just help promote Alcona throughout social media and get it aware that, you know, we are here as businesses, and, if you check into 3 or more places, and as a business owner, we have to, you know, we have to keep track of that. If you check into 3 or more places at the end of the month, the businesses that say they want to be a part of it, they've donated something, like we've donated something to the chamber, and then if you've checked into 3 or more places, you could win one of those things from the local business.
All right. That's
So-
that's the hook.
That's the hook. We want you to like come check out like the fall colors and and all of our
Mhm.
businesses, because, you know, there are still people in Glenny that don't know I exist. There are
Mhm.
still people in, you know, that don't know that the brew house, or people don't know you can get dog food at Lincoln Hardware. Like there are people that drive to Alpena to get all of this stuff that you can get here. So how do we do that? We bring them here and entice them with free stuff. You know, so I just wanted to let you guys know that, and if any of you know business members or business owners that would like to join that, then they can, talk to Ben or I,
Okay.
and we would appreciate
And
it.
that's on your website.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's on the chamber, website.
Okay. Very good. Thanks. All right. Any other public comment?
I don't know if I'm on the, I don't think I got on the agenda in time. Can I, you want me to report on some stuff in the building?
Oh, fine.
It's one of those things, things came up this week,
Mhm.
that I got to cover. Some good things and, different things here. I'll give you guys this one. When normally we've been doing all of our snow plowing through John's Home Maintenance. The big thing this year is, along with our contract, his estimate of what he was gonna charge us for snow plowing this year is the attached letter that came on it, that they will no longer be doing snow shoveling removal this year because they cannot find enough manpower for it. And along with that, you'll also know, I put on the other second sheet, kind of at the bottom of the sheet there, what we've paid in the past for snow plowing, additional snow plowing and sidewalk shoveling and stuff like that, just for the last few years. Every year it goes up slightly. This year it went up, I think it went up almost $400 for this year, just for the snow plowing. That didn't include the snow shoveling. So the question is, we've had John's Home Maintenance basically since I started here. The question is, we would like to either put out an ad in the paper to see if somebody else would like to bid out separately for the snow shoveling contract. That includes everything around the county building here, the sheriff's department, which is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week thing, so that even needs to get shoveled on the weekends so people can get in and out of the building, and then the MSU building down the street. Or do we want to just take an ad out in the paper and try and rebid the entire contract to see if somebody else wants to pick it up for the whole, for
But
the
those
snow
as
plowing
equipment.
as well as the snow removal?
I would suggest that we look for a complete new contract.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I did send him an email after you sent this to us, because normally we pay him sometime in the middle of October for our first deposit. Emailed him back, and I said that might be a route we're looking into if they're not able to do any of the snow shoveling. For us, we might be able to do some of the shoveling around here. We could do some of the stuff around there. The issue is gonna be the sheriff's department next door, and it's just the man hours and help. In the past, they've used certain trustees on the weekends to help shoveling, but like this year, they won't have any trustees. The people that are in the jail, they don't want them out to be trustees, to shovel sidewalks, things like that. So that I can see being a major issue through the winter. So if that's what the board would like to do, I would like to see about putting a thing in the paper, advertising a little bit on the internet, and searching out a new contract.
Were you thinking of a two-part contract or just a single contract inclusive?
It can be two-part contract. Because normally what the county has always done is we base it off of 16 plows. That's average for what we do here at the county building. In years past, when we were under 16 plows, we would get a credit that would go on to the following year. If we go over that, you can see there's a charge on there for each additional plow over 16 plows. And then the snow shoveling was as needed. You know, certain days they would charge us just to shovel the sheriff's department, or they would shovel the whole building and stuff like that. So it's two separate charges on that.
But we only want one bidder,
One bidder,
both.
ideally one bidder that would be able to do
So
both
the
jobs.
bid will go out for,
Correct. If they would like to break the pricing down, X amount of feet, you know, for shoveling, and then X amount of price for the actual snow removal.
But we would not restrict ourselves to a single. If it financially came in, one was better, one was,
There's a lot of companies that aren't offering shoveling anymore,
right.
not just John's Home Maintenance.
I know it's not John's Home Maintenance, they are not the only one. So I'm thinking we may end up with a situation where somebody would be willing to do the snow plowing, and then another subcontractor may be willing to come in and do the shovel. So I'm gonna leave that open, but ideally it would be one contractor, so that they're not, the snow plow guy isn't piling in front of where the guy has to shovel, the shovelers aren't putting in front of where the snow plowing goes. That's where the issues can be.
so are you concerned that if we put it all together and say, look, this is what the bid is, you gotta include the shoveling in it, you're not gonna get a bid?
No, I think we're gonna put it out that way. I just can see somebody may offer just shoveling, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's what I'm coming to you guys for your opinion and what you guys think about this.
And
It's always sped up one way, and I'm just trying to get a different opinion.
Okay.
I think it should be one contractor
Yeah.
versus breaking it down. I don't like the idea of separating up for two bids.
Well, I don't either, and that's, if the contractor wants to bid it out to somebody else and pay somebody
Correct.
$200 and let him deal with it.
but
Fine.
we still need to assure that that primary contractor is both insured and.
Right.
He would be under
Yeah, it'd have
I
to
mean,
be.
you'd have to require it to
Yeah.
do that.
Right,
But-
right.
Any commercial buildings. but
Correct,
yeah,
correct. And I
We need to know
just
that
want to
before we
verify
bid.
with you guys that that's what I would like to do.
I think that's the right thing.
So we'll do this under new business, as everybody, we'll put it on the agenda and
Okay.
talk about it.
Yeah, and then, at the top, they're just popping in that we did get the transfer of the registration plates and insurance on the county trucks, so we can start using that now for the building and grounds departments. And then I met with the auction house today. Greg from, Let's Talk Auction from Mile came over today. We are going to shoot for the 24th of October. They have an auction over there in Mile. And we're going to let them just take everything over there and sell it at auction. All the stuff down the street and all that, we've worked with the sheriff's department, they're coming up with a list of stuff they've got. So ideally next week, we're gonna start inventorying it, and he's gonna bring his own trucks and trailers over and start loading up stuff and taking it over there. He's gonna email me, I gave him a list of roughly what we had, and he's gonna email me his breakdown of commission rates for coming and getting it. So he charges a lower commission rate on low ticket items like some of the office furniture and stuff, but we might be charged a higher commission on some of the things like the 2 motorcycles that are down there and the trailers and things like that. So he's gonna break it down for me and email me that some point this week. So we did make progress on that. That's about it.
All right. Thanks, John. John, Dave.
Dave,
I was on the computer, so I was thinking of John.
I know.
All right, any other public comment?
Can I sneak in real quick, Craig?
Sure.
Our contract for our inmate phone services expires next month. And I've spent about a year looking into different contracts, different companies, and I got bids from 2 different companies. The company we have now is Securus, and they're being sued for price gouging inmates and police departments. So I wanted them to come in and do video visits at the jail to tighten up some security issues. They didn't get back with us, they didn't call us back, they didn't give us any quotes. And more importantly, during COVID shutdown, when we needed to do video visits and we weren't allowing people in, they still didn't respond. So I don't want to go back with them. They were paying a 36% commission on phone calls, which doesn't sound too bad. But again, no video visits. I got a quote from CPC, which is the second one down there. They were gonna give us a 4-year contract with 20, 20, 50, and 50 each year commissions, which it doesn't sound too bad. It averages out to be about 35 or 36%. They were gonna put video kiosks in where you can do a video visit, you can do your law library, and all of our forms are on there, so they can do that all from the cell. Pretty neat thing. And they were also gonna hand out a cell phone where they're able to text nothing else. They can only text people that are pre-set up, and we get 2 cents for every text that they do. Didn't sound too bad, looked like a pretty good setup. She came in and looked at our jail and everything. And then CTEL came in, and the striking difference here, everything's the same. Oh, well, CPC didn't tell us how much the law library was gonna be. They just weren't sure what the cost was gonna be on that. CTEL is almost exactly the same with their services, except they're gonna give us 66% commission on phone calls. That's quite a bit more. And they're also gonna give us the kiosks with the law library and everything for free. So to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. They're pretty well established around the nation, not real well established in Michigan yet, but around the nation, they're pretty well used. And they're not involved in the price gouging that Securus is. So I do have a contract for you, and if you guys want to take that at our advisement later on and sign that, that'd be great.
From CTEL?
Yep,
That'd be your recommendation?
that is my recommendation, yes.
Yep.
And there are copies, there are 3 copies there, 1 that goes back to them and 2 for us to keep. So.
All right.
And that's all I have. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right. Anyone else outside the door wants to have public comment? All right, hearing none. We'll move on. So presentation, Scott Rice. Scott, you here?
Chairman,
Oh.
I would like to ask that we, I just suspect that his is going to be more than 2 or 3 minutes. And we have scheduled a public hearing at 10:30, and I believe we need to adhere to that 10:30 schedule.
Yep, I believe it. I agree.
So for that reason, I would ask that we modify, unless you want to interrupt Scott, and I don't think that's fair to him.
Yeah, I think so. So let's,
Do you need a motion on that or something?
nope, we have it already, ready for the public hearing, so. Well, we'll need a motion to go into public hearing at 10:30.
Right.
It's only 4 minutes.
It's
Yep.
only 4 minutes, we can do it now, I would think.
You may be able to do claims right now. I mean,
Let's do that.
That,
Yep, let's take care of claims. That's pretty straightforward.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between September 16th, 2020 and October 6th, 2020 for check numbers 141962 to 142135 and e-check numbers 1395 to 1400 for a grand total of $1,588,992.68.
Your support?
Second by Brady.
Questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Drummond,
yes,
Benoit,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. That went too quick.
we could possibly do the grant committee appointments, although that does kind of put the cart before the horse.
Well, let's look at, let's make sure we got what we want on new business for the agenda. So we have nothing under old business or unfinished business. We'd like to bring the new contract for snow removal discussion. We also want the contract for the phone service. Anything else to add to the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with these 2 added items.
I'll make a motion to amend.
Dan, motion, Carolyn supported. All those in favor of the agenda as presented,
Aye.
say aye.
Yes.
Motion carries. On that note, let's have a motion to begin our public hearing at
I would move
10:28.
that we recess the regular scheduled board meeting of Alcona County Board of Commissioners at this time.
Is there
I will
support?
second that motion.
Moved and supported to recess. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Opposed is no, right? Everybody was, all right.
And I think we could, then I would ask that we move into a public hearing.
Is there support?
I'll support. Or second.
Got it, Steph?
There is no support.
All those in favor of moving public hearing to address or to meet the requirements of the CDBG grant, signify by saying aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes. Aye.
Opposed? Carries. So at this time, we have a public hearing. The public hearing is at the purpose of the best community utilization of CDBG COVID-19 grant dollars.
There
Carolyn?
are handouts on the table there if anyone wishes them. Speaking of the cart before the horse, these dollars are for things that are related to Covert within the community. Written communications may be submitted up to 3:30 on this Friday, October 9th, to the clerk's office. And they will be utilized in the process of going through and making determinations on the best use. At this time, we have two primary items that seem to address, it's important that we address and provide for something for the good of the entire county, not just Harrisville or Lincoln or, a smaller entity. And the two that we are looking at right now, until others come in for consideration, would be a telephone system that would allow better communication between departments, and then also the 800 megahertz radios for fire departments, and that would provide for better communication between dispatch, the sheriff, EMS, first responders, and fire departments. Those are the two that would certainly benefit the entire community of Alcona County, but others are welcome to come forward, and we can, as I said, until 3:30 on Friday, we can receive those. Ultimately, yet later today, I anticipate that we will be approving a committee that will look at all of these and bring recommendations back to this board for that to be, the usage of those dollars to be determined. So I would ask that you inquire as to those present, if anyone has.
So if you don't, can I read the sentence?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you go on to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, My Place, and it is a rundown, and there's a full information sheet on what the CDBG grant is. CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant CARES funding. This is federal funding from the government, and of course there are some strings always attached when it's federal government money. So I'll go down to the line that says, how can the funds be used? It says the funding is designated for COVID-19 related unbudgeted county expenditures used to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus. CDBG will reimburse expenses not already paid with other federal or state funding dating back to January 21st, 2020, which was the date of the first confirmed U.S. COVID-19 case. And the last one kind of talks about specifically why we're talking about townships here. It says funds can only be reimbursed to the county, and counties can in turn reimburse eligible cities, villages, and townships. So the idea behind this is, Carolyn, and I'm just reiterating, repeating, but that we've got a committee we'd like to designate that'll look at the best use of the money. We had to give two items ahead of time, in order to apply for this, and the one that came out with a lot of talk from one was the radios, and certainly the telephone system in our building. But anything else? I think that covers
Unless
it
someone
tonight.
has
Yeah. So
something
any
to-
questions here on the board? So,
No, I don't.
all right. So it's a public hearing. So if anybody has any questions, thoughts, ideas, Rodney?
I was curious. I mean, Carolyn had called and asked me about some wording and stuff, and, but that's the reason I came, was because I was curious as to what it.
Yeah, I sent an email out, I think, to all the supervisors
Right,
there a couple
you
weeks
did.
ago, and
But I didn't even actually put this in the same program as what you had done. I had
Oh.
no idea it was the same thing.
yeah.
Because I know, well, and I can talk about it tomorrow. But I don't know how many of the supervisors are gonna be there, but,
Oh,
We
at
are
the
having a meeting
MTA
tomorrow
meeting?
with the executive director from MTA, tomorrow. So,
So it's not, and Carolyn and I have talked a little bit about this, it's not, so we had to give an initial idea of what we thought would be the best use. Does that mean that everybody agrees that's the best use? Perhaps not. I mean, we'll sit in there and we'll talk, but, you know, to put the 800 radios seem like, and you're in the fire department and you do a lot of
Right,
stuff.
yes. I mean,
That helps everybody.
it's the new age.
Yep.
I mean, it's 100% better than our actual county communications, I mean, because they work a lot better, they're a lot, I mean, I can, well, to tell you the truth, in my case, I can be anywhere in the state of Michigan as long as I can hit a state police tower and talk to my guys in Barton City.
Yeah, I was talking to EMS once and they're pulling into
So,
U of M and
EMS
talking.
is the same way
Yeah.
now. I mean, some departments don't do that, but, I mean, we have that frequency, but that's the capabilities of the system, and it's a, you know, I mean, so we can, you know, it's an unendable system.
I think, and if I may, an example that really is, to me, is scary. If, usually, when a call goes out, generally speaking, the first responders get there first. I mean, usually first responders live in the township, not always, but usually. And so it would make common sense that they would get there first. If they were to walk into a home that had, let's say, a couple of COVID cases and one more that was feeling badly, and that's why they called for help, that first responder, as the system is now, and if EMS is on their way, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that that first responder has no way through his radio to say to EMS, slow down, there's COVID here. Because their response is going to be different if they're walking into a heart condition or a fall or something than it is to a COVID situation. That's a protection for all of our people. And I think that's important. Now, there are other such cases also. But for me, just that one small example is worth protecting our first responders. Or, for that matter, if EMS got there first and wanted to let the, EMS can let anybody know. They're covered. But if the firemen got there first, they wouldn't have any way to let EMS know, don't come in, or wait to come in. We think there's COVID here. Certainly relates it to COVID, certainly addresses everybody in all of our townships. So that's why that came up, and
I
and
don't
I think
disagree, I just,
Yep,
it's valid.
trying to kind of be equitable, and that was an idea that everybody could probably use instead of getting into each one, and so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Christina Anderson, local resident and member of the Alcona County Republicans. Would it be appropriate to consider utilizing a small amount of that grant to help the Chamber of Commerce, since businesses in the community are a vital, essential thing? That's some way that we might help them?
There are-
Definitely COVID related.
Yeah, there are some things that you have to keep
I have
within
a
the
meeting
boundaries.
tomorrow, and I could broach that.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I just think it might be worth looking into. That might be an avenue to help.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you. Any other? Do we have a time requirement on this, or is it until there's nobody else has
until
anything?
nobody else has anything pertinent,
Yep.
relevant that they want to say.
How much time do we gap until we make that decision to close?
I guess that's
We
my-
have a while.
my call. Did we give the amount?
Yes,
Did you?
well, it's in here.
Total amount, yeah,
143,
was
167.
143,812, yep.
where did that figure come
That was developed,
Cents, yeah.
yeah, that was developed by them,
from? Oh,
given our
okay. I'm just curious.
needs, and I think it actually explains
So
it.
that's the amount that they would be able to,
That's the
Up-
Well,
total
they're
amount.
splitting it,
That amount.
okay.
they're splitting it between whatever
Okay.
region this is enveloped into.
Okay.
With all, Greg, with all the COVID expenses the schools
School can make a
are,
claim.
are experiencing, can some of this money be used there to help that out?
They could, I mean, they've gotten a lot of funding, so they're in pretty good shape. I mean, but they certainly could. I mean, at the end, the county's the one who decides where it goes. So the formula used to calculate the allocation is based on HUD's methodology for round 2 allocations of the CDBG-CV CARES Act funds, but was modified taking into consideration public health needs, economic and housing market disruptions, the risk of transmission of COVID-19 and other factors. So every county got an allocation.
Well, that makes sense. I just didn't know how you,
Yeah, it wasn't
I
us.
was gonna talk to Carolyn yesterday, but I
Yeah.
forgot.
No, it wasn't us who came up with that number. That's what we
No,
were
I
told.
just was curious where that figure came from.
Well, and
By
the,
specific.
another part of this grant, it must be utilized for low or moderate income families or communities, not families, communities, which of course we do qualify.
Okay.
But,
All right, makes sense, thank you.
So again, I mean, if you go to www.myplace.org, click on the Community Development Block Grant, it gives all the information on it. We'll put that up on the website, I guess we can do that, and so if anybody wants to see how it all.
but I will incorporate as having been brought forward today, the chamber and the school,
Okay,
along with the radio and the phones.
all right. Any other comments?
If there's
Hearing
no
none?
further comment, I would move that we close our public hearing
I will
section.
second that.
Moved and seconded to close the CDBG grant hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Yes?
Thank you.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
This time, we need to come back to our meeting, so if somebody, I don't think we need a motion for that, do we?
So I also move
But you can do it if you'd like.
roll call.
A roll call what?
No, I will so move, and we need to have a roll call.
For,
to come back into our meeting.
oh, okay,
Because you may have lost people.
sure, I thought you were talking about the COVID
Oh,
thing.
no, I think.
All right, so it's been moved, supported
Seconded to come back to the meeting, yes.
by Gary. All those, or any
Nope,
discussion,
roll
all
call.
those in favor,
Aye.
we'll say affirmative in the roll call. Just like,
Brady,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes?
Johnston,
yes,
Brumman,
Yes,
Gothier.
Yes.
all right, we're back into our regular meeting. Now, presentations, Scott Rice, EMS Director.
thank you, Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Back in August, the board approved the hazard pay for the first responders. That included Sheriff's Office, 911, and the EMS staff. All that paperwork was sent off to the state. I left one of our employees who worked 36 hours back in the month of March off that list. Contacted the sheriff. He got me the packet, said we could probably make an addendum or an amendment, we could reapply. I may have gotten the cart before the horse, asked the clerk's office to pay an employee that was left off the list. I found out later that that was incorrect. I then went to Craig, since he's the board chair, filled out the addendum, filled out the paperwork. He signed it, initialed it, we sent it in accordingly. We got a response back from the state, said they acknowledged it. So they've received it. Subsequently, a day or two later, we found out that they extended the deadline from September 30th to October 30th or October 31st. So they have our application for our one employee. That employee has not been paid yet, to the best of my knowledge, and that's where we stand on it.
All right. Questions?
So that application has not been approved yet, right, Scott?
Has not, to the best of my knowledge. I've not received anything from the state other than they've received the addendum.
Scott was the one that initially sent that in, so would he be receiving the information and the confirmation on that?
I've never seen a confirmation on them at all. I think Scott Stevenson got them all. So I've never seen
It
any,
was the original submittal.
yeah. So I think
I'm
it
gonna
stays
guess
with
that
him.
all
Yeah,
previous
'cause it's an
correspondence
addendum.
may have gone to him.
Yep.
And because I emailed this one employee from the EMS division, I did get 2 responses within 5 hours from the state saying that they had received the completed application.
Okay. So as soon as we get approval, then we can pay that person.
Can we get a copy in the treasurer's office for the anticipated revenue, please, of the completed copy that you sent?
Sure.
The addendum? Yep.
Is that person still an employee?
Yeah, is the person still an employee?
She is.
Okay. Yep. All right, any other questions that we have for Scott? Thanks, Scott.
Do we need a motion to approve that to be paid when it comes, when it?
I don't
not?
think so because it's an addendum to the original grant that we
Okay.
approved already, so I
You
think,
approved the original
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's just an agenda, okay.
people, not 47.
I mean, it's an addendum, it isn't a new grant, I don't know
Cover the bases, we could just vote on it.
if you want.
Okay, no, no, let's not clutter up any more than we have to.
Just take care of it now instead of find out we have to have an emergency meeting next week to do it.
Yeah. Well, we submitted it already, so let's do
I'll
it.
make a motion to accept the addendum as presented by Scott.
All right,
And pay the,
approve my
pay the
signing and pay
employee.
that person the appropriate hazard pay.
when, upon,
Approval?
approval from the state.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. For all those watching this, there's a ton of little things that they want, and we end up having to have a special meeting to have one vote, so it may seem like overkill, but it's better than having to meet twice or 3 times a week. All right, next one is Melissa Cordes, Register of Deeds report.
Is that carried?
Yes, unanimous.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a very short report. Actually, I was asked by a couple of the commissioners to report on the sales for the property in Alcona County. We were having a discussion, so I didn't have a lot of time to put a whole bunch of figures together, but I did compare 2019 third quarter to 2020's third quarter for the dollar amount of property sales. Has increased for the year 2020 substantially. If you refer to September of 2019, total property sales amount, dollar amount was 4.5 million. In 2020, the September property sales in the county were at $11.8 million. And I've also listed the recorded document numbers. So to give you an idea, I mean, an average recorded month, we would record around 300 to 325 documents. For July this year, we've recorded 423, August was 443, and September we recorded 479 documents. So has been extremely busy in the registrar's office, struggling to keep up at times. So if you compare, I mean, we recorded 100 documents more this past September than September of 2019. So again, I was just asked to kind of give you those total figures. I guess the other thing I would mention is the total quarterly sales for 2019 were 18.5 million, and for 2020 for that third quarter is 31.9 million. So again, dollar amount of sales has increased drastically, so, which is good for Alcona.
Yeah.
Any questions?
And
Thank you.
you're not seeing any slowdown?
Things have not slowed down as of yet, and I'm not really hearing that from anyone else in the industry either. You know, title companies are, you know, they're still receiving quite a bit of business. So at this point, no, I'm not really showing a slowdown, so.
I'm just kind of curious. I'm hearing there's hardly any surplus left in Alcona County, so
Yeah.
wouldn't that constitute a slowing down, or?
Well, it very well, I mean, it could.
I
We
mean,
just
you
have
understand
not-
what I'm saying,
Yes,
correct?
yes, I do understand. We have not seen that yet. I mean, that is what I'm hearing too, that there's not a lot of things on the market. What does go on the market or is on the market is not on the market long, and it is gone. So,
Well, the beauty of those kinds of prices are things will come on the market. because people will see that, wow,
Yes.
maybe now's the time to move something. Yeah. Seller's market.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Good to hear.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, we didn't approve the agenda. Do we need to approve it at some point, or? did
No,
I-
we did.
No, we
Oh,
did.
we did?
We
Yeah.
did.
I'm sorry.
Well, we did.
Yep, we did. With the 2 additions, yeah, we
Oh,
did.
yeah, sorry.
I didn't heard you vote yes, right, Gary? I didn't heard you vote yes on that one.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have no unfinished business, new business. We have already done the claims. So let's start with the CBDG Grant Committee appointments.
I would ask that the board acknowledge or recognize that the committee would be comprised of the sheriff, 911 director, and EMS director, and myself. And I've spoken with those gentlemen, and they've all concurred. They would be
Sheriff 911 and EMS, you said, Carolyn?
sheriff, 911, and EMS directors.
I'll second that. By Brady.
All right. It comes to the motion to appoint the sheriff, the 911 director, and Carolyn Drummond as the commissioner on the grant committee,
One more.
EMS,
EMS.
4 people.
I would request a roll call on this, please.
What's, I mean, it's an even number. You
Pardon
have
me?
an issue with an even number?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. If it's not good enough to sell, then we shouldn't be talking
Okay.
about it.
All right, roll call, please.
Gothier,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Knut,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. That committee is now set. Next, we have the public hearing already, MIDC fiscal year 2021 contract. So we have that in our packet. MIDC, as you may know, is our Michigan Indian Defense Commission funding for those who have trouble paying for their defense. And this is a way for them to, how we pay our defense attorneys. So we have that in our packet. What is the?
I would move to approve and authorize the chair to sign the 2021 MIDC contract.
The signable one?
Yes, both places.
Any change?
Slight adjustment in dollar amount,
I'm sorry, is there a support?
Second by Brady.
Thank you. Is there a change
slight adjustment in dollar amount,
of our contribution?
both,
Are we contributing more or less?
just a little bit more,
It would
We're
never be
contributing
less.
more?
Never be less.
never be less. And that has already been placed in the budget. The new amount is a $40,000 amount.
Right.
No, I take it back, it's tad lower.
Bad lower.
It's 40,972, and last year's figure was 41,012.
Oh,
So,
$40.
an overall authorized
but a whole
amount.
$30. $40, actually, closer to 40.
So how did, I didn't look at that. How did the budget go last year? They stayed good?
Yeah, Bill's doing a good job on it. I think he's doing a good job
There
on
was
it.
definitely some questions about, the new opportunities that defense attorneys might have and new costs that they might incur, and none of that had really
It seems to be.
materialized.
It does not pay for appeals.
Mhm. Well, this year was kind of slow anyway, with COVID. So. What did they do last year? Last year was a full year of MIDC. All right, any questions? We have to do this, and we got another round coming, don't we? Is it done? Or is there one more? I thought there was 4 studies or 4. This was only 2. There's another. What do they call it? Revamping of the.
Oh, there are more down the
More
pike,
coming.
but
Yeah, I thought there was 4 total, and we're only on number 2.
I think that's been pushed.
Good. All right. There's no other discussion? All those in favor of having me sign this? Signify by saying yes.
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 All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. All right. Today is the 7th.
There's a second. There's 2 places to sign. They're marked.
I'm signing mine, I'm not signing yours. All right, bear with me so it doesn't end up on my desk, right?
What I'm trying to avoid.
All right, there you go. Good for another year. All right, next item, RFP health insurance quotes. That's the, did we get some quotes or?
We did receive one in by the requested date. As of this morning, I was still sending information requests to Alpena Agency, so they're still working on theirs. My question is, was Alpena Agency even aware that there was a deadline? I mean, we requested a quote from them and the ad was placed, setting a date and time.
I don't,
So of the 3 that were, I mean, we don't even have 44 North
done yet, no.
yet. So I don't know if you need to extend the time frame, republish in the paper, I don't know.
What's the board's pleasure?
I do have one sealed one here, and that's from that MESA, the MESSA. And then I did receive something from Alpena Agency, and it could be not in regard to these quotes at all, but I didn't open it, I just used it.
I will make a motion to extend the quotes till the next.
Before we do that, I think we need to receive what we got. Let's do that. So we need a motion to receive the quotes that we got
I'll make
according
a
to.
motion to receive the quotes we got.
Okay,
Support.
support. All those in favor to receive the votes or the quotes
Hold
that
on.
we had?
What'd you say, Sheriff?
I just said want to expose those that are public, and so your sealed bids would.
Yeah, we can receive it. We don't have to, I think then we would immediately say, we will readjust or then ask Beans. Extend
But we have to advertise that too.
Yes.
Which we can do easily.
That would be my suggestion.
That would have, well, I'll make the motion and after we get done with this.
And certainly without opening the one we have, this group will be notified if they would like to
Resubmit, yeah.
resubmit. If they feel like something's gonna change. We're not gonna show anybody's bids of anything or anything at this time, theirs or anyone else's.
I know I made the initial contact with Alpena Agency, and I do not remember saying that we had a firm date on receiving their quote. You know, so.
All right, so did we receive it yet, or did we vote on that?
No, we haven't voted on that.
Oh, it's vote to receive the quote that we got. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now,
I'll make the motion that we keep this bid sealed, that we extend the date till the next commissioners' meeting, and that if the bid that we've already received needs to be requoted, they have the ability to do so by the next meeting. I would
So you're
probably
asking them-
want those
The 12th.
by the 19th or the 20th.
12th.
I think the 19th would be
Oh,
fair.
I'm sorry.
It's got to go on
19th,
the
yep,
agenda.
Yep, the 19th.
So I would say by the 19th. Did you get that, Stephanie, or do I need to clarify anything?
And republish till the 19th?
Yes, ma'am.
So it would be in next Wednesday's paper.
Which only gives a week.
Well, these people already know that we're looking for the bids.
Yeah, right.
So all we're doing is just,
3 days before it's due.
Did we not receive a communication from 44 North that they'd like to come up here on the 14th of October?
I didn't.
Yeah, we did. We didn't do anything with that, though, did we?
Okay, we have a
They
motion.
confirm that they'll be present.
No, she asked if she sent us the email asking if we would be available on the 14th for her to come up here. But we were waiting to see what happened today before we answered that email, right? Or I haven't answered that email.
Anybody know what's happening?
We have a motion on the table right now, right?
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
we do.
To
With
extend
the
it
second,
until
I think.
Who seconded?
the, Mary made the
motioned.
motion to extend the,
Right, to keep the bid, sealed bid closed
Keep
and
sealed bid
to
closed
allow
and-
them to resubmit if required. That was the motion and a gist.
until what date?
Till the 9th.
Do the 19th.
Okay. And notify the current bidder that's been extended. Is that part of your thing too?
Yep.
Yeah, notify that's been extended.
And allow them to modify if
The
necessary.
bids stay sealed until,
All right, so that's our motion.
did anybody
The
second it?
discussion?
Second by Brady.
Thank you, Alan.
I think you did, but
Nope.
it's
I'll
got
do it
all
again.
muddled around there. All right, we all know
Roll
the
call.
motion. We're extending this for until the 19th.
I'd like a roll call, please.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call?
Benoit,
Yes?
Brady,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes,
All right. So move, so we'll address this on the 19th.
On
20.
21st.
Well, 21st. Yeah, we'll hopefully receive it on the 19th. All right,
So now, so if I may, how do you want to answer 44 North on wanting to come up here on a presentation on the 14th?
well, I think they have, so they're presenting their renewal, we already have them. I think they would have to present,
They haven't presented their full renewal to us yet.
right,
They need to present that.
right.
But if we want that, what do we want to do?
Pleasure of the board.
Want her to be here on the 21st? That's what we did last time when we had Lappin, that we requested that they come to the meeting.
As long as they submit their hard copy by the 19th, they can come
Yes.
make their sales pitch on the 21st.
the afternoon of the 21st.
Okay. I'll send an email to her.
Okay,
Should I contact this Mesa and have them also present?
If they,
on
They
20,
want-
I would
If they
say,
want to.
I would say anybody that's interested.
Same with Alpena.
yep,
Well, but if they're not offering to make an in-person presentation, then they don't want to.
Yeah, if they don't have to, you don't have to.
We don't have to ask them if they want to do that.
Nope.
It's the only one that's offering the 44 North the only one that's offering an in-person presentation is 44 North.
we just let
The
them
other
know that
ones-
we're,
Mesa said they could be here today.
yep, well, tell them we were gonna open these up on the 21st, and we're gonna address
If they
it.
want to come present, yeah, fine.
And I'll let LPD agency know as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Two added items were,
David's quote.
let me look at my thing here.
Snow bids.
New contract bid for snow removal for the county building.
We need a motion to allow our building maintenance to put an ad in the paper, or, okay, I'll make a
We
motion.
put the ad in
Okay,
on their behalf.
oh, all right.
I would ask that you, I'm right now in discussions with our snowplower from last year for Harbor Town, and I don't know the results of that. And until I do, I don't know, so with Harbor Town to get onto that if appropriate, if necessary, onto the ad.
Okay. So we have the information on the county snow plowing. Do we have a motion from anybody?
I would move to go out for bids on snow plowing for the, snow plowing and sidewalk removal of snow, with the bids to be back to us by the 19th of October.
And then an ad be
That
placed.
only gives them 3 days again. They'll be in the paper on the 14th. That gives,
Yeah,
I highly doubt you would get any bids in by
did
then.
on the 21st, it doesn't matter, I mean,
Well,
Can we go till November 2nd? I mean, I'm just trying to,
Well,
accommodate the papers and everything else.
make it 9, if, you can do 9 o'clock on the 21st.
Yeah,
Okay.
I gives them a week. They do the 21st, 9 o'clock.
But we've got to list it as 9 o'clock on the 21st.
Hopefully you get bid.
Or list it as 3 o'clock on the 20th, which is,
You gonna pick something or you're gonna? throw one
whatever,
3 PM on the 20th. Is that, you're gonna be the motion maker, but I think that makes sense.
I was looking for.
I'll make a motion then.
All right,
Okay.
so bids to be returned on the 20th of October by 3 PM in the clerk's
And I'll
office.
support.
And what's included in that bid will be all plowing and snow shoveling and
Right.
everything, all inclusive.
All snow removal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Carolyn, you made a motion.
Well, it's become Adam's motion and I
Sorry.
supported
I
it.
didn't try to take it over, I just didn't know where we were at.
That's fine.
We should have a ad somewhere in file. I mean, I remember we did this 5 years ago. Put it out for bids. What's included? Picture. Maybe Dave can give you that, make sure they know what's included, what shoveling, what parking lots. I mean, John knows because he's been doing it for 4 years, but somebody else might want to know how many square footage, where do I gotta plow it, where do I gotta push it?
Frank Leary's contract building and ground.
I'll ask,
We might have one.
I'll ask Dave, he might have it. I'll ask him and have him
Well,
get it to you soon.
map can be, of area covered can be obtained through either Dave or.
Yep, if he,
office.
and just put in there, if they gotta ask questions, contact Building and Grounds at the county
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
For any information on, that'd be the best thing to put in. Just put in there, any questions can put Dave, contact Building and Grounds for specifics. All right, that put to bed. Next, the inmate telephone agreement.
I'll make a motion that we have the chair authorize the chair to sign the CTEL contract,
Inmate telephone agreement.
inmate telephone agreement.
Your support?
Support.
Any discussion?
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, wasn't the one that
The
Scott,
CT
no, he wanted the CPC, the one in the middle.
No,
No.
this one he gets
CTEL.
66% commission back. This one was only 20. Only averaged like 33% commission back. This one offers 66% commission, plus kiosk for the library at no cost.
He
First
endorsed,
one-
he endorsed the CTEL.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
You voted to approve the agenda too. if you-
Yeah, Just having one of those days today, sorry.
All right, any questions or comments about it? This is pretty much runs under the purview of the sheriff's department, so. All right, hearing none, let's do a roll call on this, just to make sure, because it's, roll call, please.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes,
Johnston,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna get that now, another time. All right,
Before we get out of new business, we gotta make some line item transfers.
okay. Do we have a form, or do we have a,
yeah.
something?
He's got a few and then Carolyn's got one here.
No, that's not mine. That's
No,
what
that's-
was handed
I mean,
out
that's-
this morning.
That's for me.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
on your desk.
That's all, I got it. Sorry.
Under finance?
My bad, yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just under finance, we have, you have to put one on your desk.
On my desk?
Yeah, on this. Here.
He probably couldn't find his desk.
We have some more expenses under janitorial supplies from our disaster fund. So we need to approve a $300 transfer from our contingency over into the disaster fund, which will cover one more round, talking to Dave, will cover one more round of supplies before the end of the year. So the $300, if approved, will leave a balance in our contingency of $49,854.
All right,
What's the status? I'll support. What's the status on the repayment of the cost in that 426 line item?
that's out of one of the grants, isn't it? I mean, recovering the monies that we spent?
Yeah.
I thought that one of these grants are gonna get approved, or are,
Now, those are direct COVID, I mean, it's gonna come out of
They're-
one of these grants.
it's gonna come out of one of
Either
these grants.
CDBG or
I
it's
thought it
gonna
was
be
coming out of
CRLGG.
emergency management through, I thought that was a different avenue.
No.
Okay, that was
No, one of these grants are gonna cover that cost. I mean, we spent, this will bring us over $10,000 that we spent on COVID-related supplies for the year. That have.
How many
not-
thousand?
Over 10, just
10.
over 10. Yeah.
So that, when we submitted the CRLGG grant, that was one of the metrics that was included, was actual costs of COVID-19
Supplies.
expenses, plexiglasses and sanitizers and whatever else.
Through which grant?
The CRLGG.
Okay, so you're tucking it into that one.
Right,
Okay.
it was put in there as as one of the
Okay,
metrics.
so I don't need to put it into CDBG. Okay. Just checking.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor, say aye.
We need a roll call.
I was waiting for somebody to say it. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Ed.
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes. All right. Anything else?
Under finance? Are we in finance?
New business? Finance.
Yes, we have a bill. I don't have it here. It's on my other desk. We have a related cost to our attorneys for the litigation on the treasurer's. It's on this lawsuit going on of $9,300 that we need to find the money for. I can go get it. It's on my desk. Cheryl, do you have a copy of that or no?
I do not have it with me, but there is another one from, the other law firm for an additional 11 or 17.
I think it's
Yeah.
1,000 something.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Just under $10,000, or just over $10,000.
It's over 10,000.
That's right, Dan.
Just for clarification, that the case that's in the appellate court with the, pending with the board of commissioners and the treasurer, myself.
This is the foreclosure one you're talking about. The one that's pending? Yeah,
Naming the board of commissioners and the treasurer.
yeah.
Yeah, so we have an invoice of $9,378 for legal services from, an appellate litigation, and then we have another one of $1,121.50. And we only have about $700 in our legal services fund.
Do you have a suggestion? Ms. Finance? The printer, we don't have a black or color printer down here anymore, so we can't use that. That's a joke.
No, what's up, I mean, we're gonna get the money.
All right, so now we gotta figure out where the money's coming from, is that what we're saying here?
Yeah.
Or at this point, we're just making it aware the bill is here, and we're trying to find where it's money, and we're looking for any kind of input anybody might have,
No suggestions, eh?
of course.
Well, we have, in finance, these bills have just came down, and we have not, as a finance committee, talked about them yet. We're having a meeting this afternoon, but we have those two. So,
Dan,
yeah,
do we have to pay this today, or can we do this at the next meeting on the 21st?
I guess, yeah.
When did we receive the bill?
Um,
Has it got a due date listed?
dated September 28th, and I think they're both dated around September 28th. So there's, I mean, we've got time. I mean, by the end of the month, we'd probably be fine. We have those two bills.
Okay. So you guys gonna come up with a suggestion, or you
Yeah,
want this,
we will. We'll come up with a suggestion.
or at least a recommendation, or a something?
Yep.
But if anybody else has any ideas while they're not able to sleep or something, I'm happy to take any, input. Thank you.
During the boring times of night?
Yeah.
Nothing else to do? All right, anything else on finance?
No, just to let everybody know though that we're meeting, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, with all the different department heads working on the 2021 budget. Everything seems to be moving on, really good, and, thanks to everybody that's been working on it, but we're working on it. Let's get together.
911 Authority passed their,
Yep,
approved
we
their
got that
budget
yesterday.
yesterday.
We met with, well, quite a few of them, and yesterday, we're meeting all afternoon today and all afternoon tomorrow too. So, we're getting real close for a proposed 2021 budget. So,
Yeah, treasurer's office has been a key component to this.
Right.
So I wanna make sure that's known to everybody, they're going above and beyond.
Anything else?
Nope.
No? All right. Personnel report?
You have it in front of you, we have completed the mid-year meetings with our department heads. We had hoped to get to it by August, and it didn't happen. It happened in September. They're pretty much on track. There's just a brief comment regarding each one there of the 4 that we do. And just a reminder for those of you who are liaison to a department, please make sure that you continue to sign paychecks for those department heads.
Okay. I was just reading through the personnel report, so. All right. Treasurer's report?
We had our tax sale on September 30th. It was an online, which was an unusual type of sale. Generally, it's in public and it was open to the public, but the whole thing was handled online this year. We had 16 properties and we sold 16 properties. I have escrowed the excess proceeds supposedly. We have not received the funds yet, but I've set up a fund specifically for those individuals. There is no standardized process at this time, although we are receiving calls in regards to properties that are being sold over the tax amounts for the prior decision in the court case, not the one that we were talking about earlier, but one previous to that where it was considered unconstitutional to keep excess over what the taxes were due. But there's been no formal process of recovering those funds, so we're waiting from the state of Michigan and the legislatures to make a decision on that, and I haven't heard. There was some legislation that was supposed to be going through that I have not got confirmation that it's come through in its entirety, so we're waiting on that, but just heads up that we are receiving phone calls at this time, different entities offering to recover those funds for people who have lost their properties in tax sale.
What is, I haven't seen that, what is the legislative fix? Can you elaborate on that a little?
I have a 29-page document. I would be more than happy to forward to you
All
for
right.
your perusal.
Oh, boy.
If you'd like.
29 pages of legislative mumbo jumbo.
Yes, pretty much. It just lays out, procedurally what is expected of the treasurers, of the county treasurers. And
Going forward, or making these people whole? Going
No,
forward?
going forward.
Okay.
We haven't had any confirmation on the process
Yeah.
for the other part of it. So we're still waiting on that. There's no remedy at this time that has been put out there for us to follow
Right.
for the state.
We don't even have an amount, or we don't even have a timeline yet, do we? Yeah, so,
Out of these 16 sales, is there excess over and above the taxes that were due?
$144,774.98.
Oh,
so I'm assuming going forward, you're gonna put that away and don't touch it, because
Yeah,
we'll maybe give it back.
yeah.
Well, I am also working on calculations for the, recommendation from the attorneys, and
Yep.
so I will have a full report once that, for the board, so we can make all adjustments on,
Is the 144 gross or net?
that would be the net over
Net,
taxes.
okay.
The net, but, no, I don't wanna talk about it anymore, because it's a pending legal,
Right.
so,
Well, yeah.
okay,
Other than that, we've been working on budget.
thank you.
And more numbers, I'm gonna go nuts.
All right, anything else? Any questions for the treasurer? All right, clerk's report?
Well, like what Cheryl just said, the agenda, Trina's been basically just working on the agenda for like a week straight.
Budget.
Pretty much, just about, or the budget, I'm sorry. And moving forward with elections, being the only one in the office that handles the elections, deal pretty closely with a lot of the local clerks on a daily basis, helping them. Big elections, so lots of questions, lots of phone calls, and that's about all I have to report. Oh, these invoices, where'd this come from? What? The cost allocation invoices were laying here.
Oh, I forgot about that in my treasury report, didn't I? Sorry. I've been asked to, put together the cost allocation invoices to the other departments that are supported by millage that we've done in the past. All the amounts are the same as they were last year. We didn't make any
The
changes.
IT and,
Yeah, IT
payroll.
and payroll, sports, and the clerk and treasurer.
So then, yeah, you mailed those out or emailed them out?
I didn't send them anywhere. I didn't know if I need to have the board approved to send those out or not. If I
If it's
don't, then I'll
approved, then we
send
have to
them.
approve
They're
the
what's in the
budget.
budget?
Yeah, they're in the budget.
All right,
Yeah,
then
it's
I'll
in the
send them
budget,
out.
yeah.
But I guess, look it over once, if you get a chance, and let me know when I'll send them tomorrow, if I don't hear anything otherwise. It's exactly the same as we charged last year.
Yep.
Right,
And it matches our budget.
it's in their budget.
Matches it, yeah.
All right,
You want me to just hand Scott his while he's sitting here?
Is he sitting down?
He is, he's sitting right there.
I'll send him an email, that way you can.
Let
have
the
a paper
record
trail.
show that Scott got it.
He'll send them an email anyway.
That way we have a trail.
all right, any questions for the clerk? Anything else, Steph?
No.
All set? All right, communications. Now, I'd like to allow the board to indulge me here a little bit on this. So Republican Party resolution, which is Carrie, but she had called ahead and asked to be put on the agenda. It was put in the new business of the agenda. And we're talking with Steph, I said, that's not where it should be. We determine the agenda, not people outside. So it should have been under presentations. It's where you should have, we got caught up in our whole public hearing, and I thought, then it hit me when you said, well, the public comment will come up later, or the presentation, and I didn't get back to it, so.
Which led to a question real quick, Greg, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That also, like that Huron Shores Alliance, when they send that yearly proclamation that goes under new business, so should that be moved to communications for future reference? as
It should
well?
be, yeah, yeah. Because only the board determines the agenda.
There's some yearly proclamations, I know that
Yep.
kind of go under new business, so.
So it should have went back to presentations, and I missed telling you, oh, we should do this under presentations, because that's what you
So
requested,
it
so.
should be under presentations, not communications.
Yeah, when they would ask to be recognized by the board, so you can be recognized as a presentation, or you can do public comment. And I would, okay, so you go ahead and, you had all this time to get all,
I know, right? So basically, I got brought on board with the Second Amendment Sanctuary County group here in Alcona County. Thanks, guys. Love you. And they had essentially rewritten the resolution. A lot of people weren't happy with, the essential, okay, I'm just gonna put it blunt. So, when you guys voted on it last time, you basically rewrote it right there at the table and voted on it as your, resolution, which really did not go very well with, a lot of the people who had signed on to the original resolution. So there were things in here that were changed that some people didn't like. In particular, the word sanctuary is the one that comes up. So let's see, let's do this. So that's just putting it blunt. Just so you know, I love these guys, but I don't always agree with everything, but I know I can work with you all. So I don't have to agree with you all the time.
No.
I did not print this out for everybody, so you will have to share.
We have a copy.
Yeah, I think we have.
Well, no, for this little graphic. And what I want to draw your attention to is the state of Michigan, obviously. But you can see the counties, and we are actually marked as a pro-Second Amendment county. Now, there's 10 counties or so surrounding us that have a resolution, and in their resolution is the word sanctuary. So, our main rub with this whole thing is the word sanctuary. What's good about the new resolution is that it defines it, and it adds the word constitutional in it. We like this wording a lot better. It's shorter, simpler, I think.
We hope you will too.
We hope you like it as well. And I think it helps to clarify the position of the citizens of this county. There were a lot of people who had signed the petition when it was going around, well over 700 people. That's a fair amount. But, so you can see the map in the state of Michigan shows the number of counties. And the previous map that I had presented to you, you can see all over the state, they've gone from individual state maps to country maps as to how many have done sanctuary resolutions, pro-Second Amendment resolutions. And the movement has not gone away. You guys ain't gonna get rid of us. Sorry to tell you. But we would hope that you would take this into consideration and pass this resolution as written, not to make any changes. Hopefully the constitutional Second Amendment sanctuary will help assuage any fears of that word sanctuary. We're just trying to, yeah?
Do you want to read out the definition of the Constitution?
Well,
it should be right about there.
Yeah, whereas a constitutional sanctuary county is defined as a place of refuge for the law-abiding citizen in regards to the citizen's rights under the Constitution of the United States of America and Michigan Constitution, including but not limited to the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. So not only does this cover Second Amendment, but it also covers constitutional rights in general, as presented to us in the Constitution of the United States of America, the fantastic document that's nice and short and sweet as opposed to the 3,000-page Constitution. That's a whole different story. I can email you the video you can watch. It's just like, I don't know what, 60 seconds, a minute, minute and a half, something like that. There's a second Constitution. Basically, it's based on court rulings, and they always leave the last 1,000 pages. They always have an extra 1,000 pages underneath what's already that, so they can add more, because it always gets bigger and ever smaller. And so sometimes you'll hear people, oh yeah, we're going by the Constitution. You're going by the Constitution as various and sundry judges who aren't necessarily rule of law judges. I cite red flag laws that have come up. Maine has a red flag law, whereupon people have died in the execution of the gun confiscation based on hearsay of somebody thinking somebody's going to do somebody else harm, and it's not right. So, in a nutshell, we would request that you agree with our resolution and pass it as worded, not alter it. And if you want to add anything, please, Chris?
Yes, I do. I'd just like to say our primary concern here was to assure you that our definition of constitutional sanctuary county is not to let any Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to break the law come in thinking that he's gonna find sanctuary here. That's not what we're after. We want this to protect law-abiding citizens and protect their constitutional Second Amendment rights here in the county against tyrannical government elsewhere in the state. I think you all know who I mean.
Yes.
We're not trying to get around the law, we're trying to support the law and let the rest of the state know that we support the law.
And it's a growing number of counties. It is a large growing, I would say 90% of those counties on that map have the word sanctuary in them, and we're working on reclaiming that word. It's not a word for lawlessness, it's a word for law, constitutional rights that we need to keep, and we need to remind our legislators and lawmakers and enforcers that we have those inalienable rights. Okay? Any questions?
Since this is in presentation, we normally do.
You can have
provide
questions,
for-
yeah, yep.
Carrie, whose definition, not challenging, but I'm looking for the source, who came up with the definition of constitutional sanctuary county? Where does that come from?
Well, it was, you know, each county has kind of come up with their own using a base template. The base template came from I cannot remember which county.
Okay, so
But essentially it is an agreed upon citizens definition is how I would word that.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Basically, what we did was we went through all of the other counties' resolutions and sort of cherry picked to make it fit what we thought you would approve, as well as our group
So-
in support of.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so basically all you're looking for is just to align with those counties that have already adopted the same thing that you would be
Yes.
pretty much put in like a union, if you will.
Exactly,
Yes.
there you go.
And in a
Okay.
format that will be acceptable to the board.
Yes.
So
And the other counties as well.
Yes.
Well, it addresses the sheriff and the prosecutor again, so I do think they need to look at this and make any judgments they want on it before we would, my personal opinion anyway, before we'd make any movements on it. A little kind of a provocative question. Do you think right now that we are not protected, or our constitutional rights aren't protected?
I would have to say we are totally protected. I trust this body, I trust the sheriff and the prosecutor to uphold our constitutional rights.
So the question is then,
There is an election coming up very shortly.
Exactly,
And
and, you know, our
questionable right now.
prosecutor and sheriff are uncontested, which is nice. But what about when there is somebody else coming up after.
So then you kind of lead me right into what, and then you and I,
Okay.
you and I have talked about this a little bit. So let's just give a for instance that the new sheriff and prosecutor are not of the same constitutional persuasion that you are. And they decide, well, we think, I mean, you've just given us the power here to say what we think is constitutional or not. And they could maybe determine that some things that you thought were, they say aren't. Because we've just passed a resolution here that says the sheriff and the prosecutor make the, what is it, the final
Exercise your sound discretion
Sound
and not
discretion.
enforcing.
And I've used this one because it is such a, it is a lightning rod, but I'm being serious about it. You got concealed weapons permits that people are allowed to carry it statewide. Given this, if we get a prosecutor who decides, I think that's unconstitutional, and I'm not gonna allow concealed carry in the county of Alcona, wouldn't this provide and allow him to do that? And then, and because of the resolution, require the board to not fund him and follow through with it. That was my concern over it. That you like having the two people in the offices that we have now, and I agree. I'm just saying you can't, we live in a democracy where both sides always get to have a say sooner or later.
Yep.
It's one of those, for me, it's a little nervous. It's be careful what you ask for. We do have a system in place. We have courts that determine constitutionality, and that's, I mean, it has worked right now, and there's being that third leg that says, hey, you two got to figure this out. So I don't want to dissuade. I'm just.
Well, is there a way that you can think of that this could be worded so that we could avoid possible illegal search and seizure in the future?
Well, I mean, I think you elect responsible prosecutors and sheriffs, number one, and follow our constitution that's in place. Go through the steps that are needed. I mean, so right now this is a good example, and I can feel Patty looking right at me so what we have right now, I think, is a good example of this. Is that we've had a legislature that maybe didn't do what they should have done. We have a governor who maybe did more than she should have done. And there's this, right? So the third party has come in, the courts, that our founding fathers designed this to do, and said, okay, you're going to work this out together one way or another. So when we start saying from a legislative side, no, it's our way, we don't think this is constitutional, and say we don't care what the court says, we don't care what the executive says, and that's kind of what you're asking us to do as the legislative here, to say, well, we don't really care. So if the courts are still saying it's constitutional, then you're asking this board future to say we don't think it is.
I guess I kind of, because nothing in here really talks about that. It says, the two things, we would support the sheriff or the county prosecutor in their sound discretion not to enforce any statute or law that is contrary to the rights established in the Constitution, one. And number two, the resolve says that the board would not authorize funding, resources, or agencies, contractors, or whatever to enforce laws that restrict any gun rights. So I mean, it talks about not restricting gun rights. So I don't see where it leaves it to anybody's discretion.
No, it's the discretion of the Constitution and our God-given rights.
There's somebody else who can fill the air with words now, so I'll be back. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Well, after that?
I'm sorry.
You have a tough act to follow.
Then may I draw the conclusion that the whereas addressing the constitutional sanctuary, that is developed through the Alcona Republican Party leadership?
No.
Okay.
No.
It is, and I would say that the Republican Party supports this, but we're not leading this. It's the
Second Amendment.
Second Amendment Sanctuary Counties group that has put this together, and I'm presenting it as
on their behalf,
a member of that board. They wrangled me.
We recently brought her on board because someone else dropped out.
Okay, that's fine.
So
then this document comes to us from
The
Second Amendment Sanctuary County group.
Okay.
Of Alcona County.
Carolyn, what we did was we have a member from each township.
District.
Yeah. Right, that's it. Yeah.
Just like you guys.
And
And we
we
talked about this.
we thought
in
we
depth.
overwhelmed you last time with
Quite a few,
with our
quite a few
mass.
meetings.
Is it public information who those members are?
I'm sorry?
Is it public information who those members are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's myself, it's
Greg?
Greg.
It's Judy Schlicker French.
From, where's Judy from? What
Uh,
district?
This
She lives
district,
on,
Harrisville.
No, because she's
She was
from
on Colville.
Harrisville.
I'm not officially part of the group.
She's not part of
I'm
the
just a tag
Do
along.
that?
Oh, well, I mean, Gary's
But
She's a
District
trustee.
2.
right,
Yeah, I'm a
You're
trustee.
District 2, she's District 3.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Judy
So
lives
who's
on
District
Colville.
1, who's District 4, who's District 5?
We've got Jim White.
Jim
Jim
White.
White lives out by Glenny, west of Glenny.
So he's District 5.
And then we
So
have
who's
Joe-
District 4 and who's
Joe
District
lives in
1?
the north end of Hubbard Lake.
Alicia.
I cannot pronounce
Yeah, he's got a
his
weird
last
last
name.
name. Joe's on the north end of Hubbard Lake.
Okay, so he's 1, who's 4, who's District 4?
That would be Judy then.
That's gotta be Judy.
Judy.
Justin,
Judy Schlicker
okay,
French.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I just wondered.
Sounds like you gotta invite Carolyn to the next get-together and.
I'm just curious. I mean, and I'm fine with it.
There's nothing wrong with being curious.
I just,
We-
thank
We
you.
want you to be
Thank you.
informed and comfortable.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well-
I have nothing else to add. I mean, my personal opinion is we let the sheriff and the prosecutor take a look at this and see where
I would
they're
agree
at.
with that.
But that's
Generally
me.
speaking, we're trying to, in all honesty, to leave the sheriff and prosecutor out of it. I know some,
It's in it. You're asking them to make the,
make a call, yeah.
yeah.
Tell you
So-
what, I will make a motion that we do this and then I'll make a motion to table afterwards. But I'll make a motion to accept this resolution as written
Okay. Is there
and then
any,
we'll table it till next meeting.
is there any support for that?
I'd like to wait and get
Okay.
comments back, for me, just for me.
So I'll rule that the motion died without support and that we'll get our any interpretation, any more conversations we can have on this.
Okay.
Okay?
If you need to ask me anything, call me, email me,
Yeah.
just all know. I'm pestering, so,
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry for the mix-up.
Right.
All right. The Bay County resolution is in there. Nobody out there from Bay County, is there?
Can't vote on theirs anyways.
All right. Committee reports, Gary?
District Health met, I know they're still talking about the COVID stuff. And the senior center met and they're just still looking at sites and what they're gonna do as far as possibly doing a community center, and they're looking at their millage that's coming up this November. And that's it. No other groups have met.
Dan, do you have anything?
Just had a NEMSCA Zoom meeting the other day, and the interesting thing came out of that is that they have withdrawn their purchase, not agreement, but they're looking into the purchase of the St. John's Church in Alpena. They have dropped out of the negotiations with the Catholic diocese. Really couldn't come to a reasonable solution on money and some of the other things. But the most interesting part of this has come out is, like a lot of other groups around the country, NEMSCA is learning that everybody working from home is kind of working good, and that they can see an opportunity of maybe owning buildings isn't the right thing to do. So it's kind of interesting to hear that, but they have dropped out of the chance of purchasing St. John's, so.
All right, Adam, do you have anything? Carolyn?
Had a 211 workshop Friday afternoon and into Saturday morning. 911, we worked on budget, which has been submitted. And Sunrise, pretty much, things on track. Extra precautions, of course. And we continue to look at transitional housing options. And we have a Our Cedar Lake Improvement Board passed their final resolution, so that will be on the tax bill for the December 1st tax bill for 10 years.
All right, I did not, I mean, I spoke about a lot of stuff. I didn't have any committees this last 2 weeks, so anything else to add to that? Public comment, finalize.
I have something if you're open it.
Sounds like Lenny.
Lenny, is that you?
That is me. How are you guys doing today?
Very well. Welcome.
So, my public comment, I was just actually sending you a private message asking if you're going to do public comments. I have an issue that I'm hoping that you guys could put your head together to help. It does concern some of our residents in our community. That issue is with the Lincoln Manor Apartments. We have kind of gone back and forth for the last 8 months since I've been here, and I got in here in January, of trying to get that place free of bed bugs. It has become a public health and a public safety concern. We have a couple of individuals who are supposed to get services from us. We're not allowed to provide services because it could be a public health crisis if we spread that infestations to other places. We have reached out to the state. We have reached out to other entities. I've reached out to the health department. We took it after talking with some of the residents who live there and get services. We have one particular individual that needs bathing assistance 3 times a week, and we were not in her home for 2 months, so you can imagine. So we went in there and we performed some bathing assistance for her yesterday, and we performed some other assistance today. As of today, about an hour and 25 minutes, we saw 6 bed bugs in her apartment. So I am asking for help from you to figure out what we can do to assist those residents that are in the Lincoln Manor Apartments to get this situation redressed, to get it, what kind of pressures that we can put on, because if, you know, I would hate to say this, but imagine your loved one living in that apartment complex. Imagine if it's your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, somebody you care for, and these things are feasting on you at night. So I like I said, this is not know how I normally would approach things, but I got to advocate for these people. So how can we do this? How can we put our heads together?
Lenny, the two that you and I talked about briefly, have you had any response from them? One was a funding agent.
I got one
Nothing.
response that said that they would be getting in contact, but you know, as we all know, if it doesn't affect you, your feet not on the fire, you're not going to move with as gusto. You know, as we try to say, okay, we'll just provide the services and then we'll see what happens. Well, we provide the services and we saw what happened. We saw 6 bed bugs in just one time walking into that building.
Lenny, Craig?
Yes, sir.
So Department of Health hasn't been involved or are involved?
Well, here's the thing. I talked to Department of Health, and they have limitations as far as what they can do. Because bed bugs doesn't fall under an imminent risk kind of thing, they said that they may not be able to issue some type, because it falls under a nuisance. It becomes a nuisance thing versus a, you know, somebody's going to die from having, you know, exposed to this. So their environmental control has a little bit of, you know, handcuffing of what they could possibly do. So I'm hoping as a county, there may be something that you guys could maybe decide, you know, put some pressure on. I don't know what you guys are to be able to do. I'm at the limits of what I can do, which is be the squeaky wheel in the room.
But this is subsidized housing. The management team has been contacted, I understand, and refuses to respond as to what apartments were or were not treated, and they're not providing proof. And we're underwriting, maybe not we from our dollars here, but we as state residents are subsidizing this housing, and it needs to be up to a reasonable standard, which it certainly is not.
It is not.
I mean, through Sue's office, we contacted I want to say it's MISTA, but it's not.
It's the Department of Health and Human Services, housing.
No, it's the other
development.
one. The other one that she contacted. It's
look
the
it up.
subsidized housing one.
Okay.
It's Michigan State something. I don't remember. But anyway, that I would have thought that would have or might have triggered something. They shouldn't be getting a subsidy if they're not providing a reasonable standard.
Is it federally or state subsidies?
It was, there could be federal, I'm not aware, there is state.
I think most subsidies for MISTA come from federal guidelines, but reimbursed by the state. So the state has because it's Michigan Housing Development or MISTA.
Right.
And MDHS, those are the agencies that are in there. As far as those in there, like me making an APS report that's saying that these individuals are living into a substandard housing or whatever, is not going to go anywhere. We know what's going on. The agency that manages knows what's going on. So how do we put pressure on this so that it stops going on? Because even if it takes $3,000, just do the whole freaking apartment complex. I don't understand why we keep playing whack-a-mole with these, with this stuff. We have over 20 residents that live in there, and I am responsible for servicing these individuals. These are voters. They're important. Their lives matter. So I'm going to continue to try to squeak until we can get this resolved. And I'm hoping that you guys can figure out within the scope of your power and authority and law to make this happen. If it's an ordinance, if it's a fine, if you have to order your own independent person to go out there and do an inspection, whatever it is, like they got to have a business license, they got to operate. So what can we do to move the needle here?
What about the township? Well, actually, where's Lincoln Manor located? In Lincoln?
In Lincoln.
Then I would talk to the local, because it seems that townships and
They have I don't think they have any power to, in all due respect, in this arena.
Gary, it's behind the Masonic Lodge.
So Lenny, can you send the whole board what you've done, who you've contacted so far? Or you can tell us, so you've met with Department of Health, you've contacted them.
I contacted Sue, and Sue contacted Department of Health,
Okay.
MDHHS, and this MISTA or whoever the funding entity is. Her office contacted both of those. And we were told.
All of you were CC'd on the email for yourself, Mr. Renach, and Ms. Brumman.
Yes.
So you already have what I've already done. You've
Okay.
gotten it.
All right.
It's the way they're doing
All right. Well, we'll do what we can. All we can do is send a letter. I can't, we can't go pay for it. We can't use taxpayer money on a private residence. I think perhaps, is that Hawes or Guston?
It's the Village of Lincoln.
It's a village.
Village of Lincoln.
Village limits.
But there's two townships in the village.
Right.
yeah, but
So they are in,
Village of Lincoln has their own zoning,
They're
and
south of Trask Lake.
so that
it's
would
gonna be Guston.
Guston? We have the zoning administrator from Guston
They're
here.
south of, right behind the
Trust me, I'm
Masonic
aware of that.
Which is also south of Trask Lake.
No, Trask Lake is-
But
I
they have
would
their own zoning and
like
planning.
to go ahead and place a call to, whatever the second group was that Sue sent to.
Continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll-
yeah.
Road just south of-
I'll keep you
So
posted.
Lenny, did you talk to the village council?
No, I did not talk to the village council about that.
So I think that would be a place to begin. So start with the village council and say, look, this is the problem. Even if we do get it fixed, it could happen again in a week, a month, and a year. We need to have some protections for renters. That isn't unheard of. There are ordinances that are written for renters' protection.
that's what I was thinking.
And perhaps they could get some advice and craft a renters' protection ordinance and begin the process of putting some financial hurt on anybody who doesn't keep their rentals up to snuff.
Many years ago, I tried to do that at the county level, and we do not have the authority. Commissioners, counties do not have the authority to do what you just said.
Well, we don't have county zoning here. We have township zoning and village and city zoning. So until whatever day that were to happen, which I don't think it will, but yeah, the zoning is handled at the village level and the township level.
It was an ordinance, and we weren't allowed to do it.
I will, and if you want to look too, I'll look. I know I've seen some sample language of that, and you can present that to the village. And I mean, it's still good. You're not talking days and weeks. This is months. You'd have to have a public
Well, as I
hearing
say,
to
like
add to
the village is not gonna meet, they met the other day on Tuesday. So they're not gonna meet again for another 30 days.
Yep.
Well, doesn't stop you from talking to
Talk to Sheila.
Sheila.
Yeah. Sheila Phillips is the village president. Get on that agenda. I mean, I'm surprised it's not a health issue.
That's what I was surprised when I talked to the health department.
So there's still more they're looking at, or they're just trying to wash their hands of it?
Here's what we've experienced over the last 8 months. Okay, we had some contact with them. They found some bed bugs in a couple of apartments. They did a heating treatment, and then it moved from those 2 apartments to other apartments. As of last week, they said that they brought in some dog sniffing bed bug dogs, and they did not confirm nor deny that they found them in other people's apartment. They said that they found no bed bugs in the commons areas or the laundry room. Meanwhile, there has been 2, now 3 articles written in the other newspapers about this issue, and the residents that have spoken out have been targeted. They have been threatened with evictions. They have been harassed by petty things that have been in their apartments for years but never had any problems. But because they're speaking out, they're being targeted. I don't think that's right. We have one person that went on record with the newspaper, and he basically gets threatened pretty much every day that they're going to evict them. They're looking for some reason to evict them.
All right. We'll get onto it and see what we can do. We'll start asking our attorney. We'll start asking if we can, anything we can look at.
No worries.
And I want a little better information from Department of Health. I didn't realize that was. Michigan bed bug laws. According to Michigan law, landlords should, in good faith, deliver a new tenant with housing that's free of bed bugs. This includes tenants, owners, management, and staff. So there's some laws on the books. There's a House Bill 4719 right now. It was introduced in 17. I don't know if it was passed. That said no landlord can lease a rental knowing it's infected by bed bugs. So
I don't think that those regulations are applicable when I think MISTA moves into a different arena. Not that they shouldn't apply, but I think
you would think they're not a landlord.
But that entire property, Ms. Brumman, is not all MISTA apartments. There are other people that rent from those apartment complex. So not everybody in there is in a subsidized apartment. I do not believe that every tenant in there is in a subsidized apartment.
You're probably right, Lenny.
I think they offer subsidized. So, but either way, there should be some slum laws or tenant laws on the books from Michigan that follow suit with every other state in America that requires that a landlord takes all reasonable effort to ensure the safety of the people that they're renting from. Because I can't, in good conscience, I say hit them where the pocketbook is, stop paying rent. But then that would give them the leverage they need to evict the person. So if you're paying rent for something and you know that it's broken and that's not right. We know we have corroborating evidence that there is still bugs in this apartment. My staff put themselves at risk because they didn't want to see a person go another month without a bath. The decency, the common decency and the human, decency of having a bath. We bootied up, we put on a gown, we did as much protection as we possibly could. We put dog collars around our ankles to provide that person with services. And while we were there, we corroborated that there are still bed bugs in that person's home.
Okay. I've just pulled up about 6 different pages here. I'll start something too, so. Okay, thanks, Lenny. Anything else?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, commissioners, additional comments? Oh,
Yeah.
no, sorry.
This may be neither here nor there, but it's my understanding that with cockroaches, if you treat your house for cockroaches, they're gonna run to your next door neighbors because it's free space. And then when they get treated over there, they're gonna run back to your house. Is it the same with bed bugs? And if that's the case, then they should treat the whole complex,
Right.
not just those few
Right,
apartments.
oh, yeah, definitely.
I completely agree. That's what I said. Complete the whole complex.
Thank you.
Craig,
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Scott?
my mom lives there, and this is an ongoing issue for well over a year. And how it all started was that 1 or 2 apartments got some furniture from a local resale shop. And it was found that the furniture that came into those apartments was infested with bed bugs. On 2 separate occasions over the last year and a half, they've had dumpsters out in front of that apartment, and they basically have gutted the affected apartments of the furniture. They've put out rules that no more donated furniture or purchase of furniture from resale shops because of that problem. And exactly what Lenny said, they're only treating the affected apartments. They're not treating all the apartments. And there's 24 apartments in that building, plus other mechanical rooms and storage areas. So they brought in dogs last week, and we had to go over and we have to move the furniture 18 inches away from the wall in all rooms. They bring in this little Chihuahua dog, who's the bed bug dog, but yet they don't have a crew on standby, what do I want to say, an extermination crew on standby out in the parking lot that if we find an affected apartment, we'll treat it immediately. No, we'll come back at a later time, or nothing found, it's unfounded. So now you go back later that day or the next day and you move all the furniture. We've done this 3 times in the last year plus, where we have to move the furniture, and they need to exterminate the entire building. A one-time, but the problem is, what do you do with 22 to 24 residents who are elderly, who may not have family in the area, have no place to go for a 24-hour period of time? The management is not addressing the issue. The manager is part-time, he comes and goes. The ownership of the building as a whole is somewhere in the greater Metro Detroit area. And the complaints and the concerns that the residents and what Lenny's addressing just seem to go unanswered. Fortunately, my mom's apartment is not directly affected. And what they've done over there is you've almost created a prison, because the folks can't interact, they can't socialize, they can't go from apartment to apartment. A lot of them live alone. There are a few couples in the building, but essentially you're a prisoner in your own home. And there are handwritten signs throughout the building. If you leave the door propped open, if you come in without a face mask, if you leave anything in the common area, you face eviction. It's on the doors, in plain sight, without question. We did the food drop with the seniors since what, March, February? They were putting food that they didn't want, didn't like, didn't care for, because basically you get a box of food. They would put it out in the common area for others. Oh, we can't have food out in the common area. If you leave food out here, you're gone, you're out. So now it's got to that point that it's a prison. That they don't treat the entire building, they only treat the affected apartments. It's only been 2 or 3. But they need to go in there, exterminate the entire building, but that means displacing all the residents for a period of time to safely do so. That's what they're up against.
Could the residents be accommodated at the senior center just for 24 hours so that could be done?
That would be a question you'd have to ask Lenny. But then how do you do social distancing and food and all those other logistical things that come involved when you pick up 25, 30 residents and you move them to a different location? I'm not saying it can't be done.
Well, I'm just thinking, if it were like an emergency tornado evacuation or hurricane or something like that, that would be a place that they might house people overnight.
You know, I can,
cots or whatever.
I can bring my mom to our residence, that's not a problem. I don't know what the other 23.
And there may be a percentage that does have family.
Right,
And
I know.
knock
for a
that
fact
30
there's
some
people
down.
that have family in
I
the
know that
area.
when I took it upon myself to do the food drop, because a lot of those seniors don't have vehicles, and they couldn't get up to the school and receive the food boxes. So I took it upon myself every Friday we would deliver food. I won't go in the apartments. I stay in the town area, wear a mask, wear gloves, the whole 9 yards. But we need to figure out something. A lot of those people don't have family,
It would be,
especially in the
it
area
would be,
or family at all.
All right, well, so, welcome, if anybody's got any other ideas, I mean, I think we got a couple ideas to pursue. And kind of clarify, definitely the local level, Lenny, and I'll make some calls. I know we just talked with Adam here as a zoning administrator. I mean, there are things that can be done on a local level in zoning. If they aren't already done, perhaps a conversation with a landowner saying they will be done if this doesn't change and make it difficult.
How do you certify a Chihuahua for bed bugs? I
don't know.
really would like to know that.
Dog training is amazing, absolutely amazing.
So what do they point when they see one, or what do they?
They put their
Gobble it up.
paw. Well, here's an anecdotal situation. And this was reported from one of our people. Like I said, I'm not going to give who it is because protect their rights. But the dog signaled that in her particular chair that it felt it and smelled it, and it signaled to the handler. The handler did not identify, didn't say, well, that was a hit. They just said, oh, okay. Have you seen any bugs in your apartment? And they're like, well, I haven't seen anything. And then the lady was like, well, didn't the dog just touch my chair? Oh, you don't have anything to worry about. And then they left out. And so that was, like I said, reported to us. And I can tell you that it's probably not true because we verified it today when we went in. So, like I said, this is preposterous, and we should not in America have people fall through the cracks like this. This is.
Who paid for the handler? Who paid for the handler and the dog to come in?
They did. So that's what I said. Like, if it's an independent, if it's an independent person that has to come in and take a look at this, but my tax dollars, your tax dollars are going into the pockets of Prime Management because they are getting some type of subsidies. The residents of this great county that I serve are living there. People that we know. This management company doesn't worship in our county. They don't pay taxes in our county. They don't live in our county. They don't brush elbows at the post office or eat at the Chris Mart like these residents do. So they don't have a vested interest. I do. The people in this county have a vested interest. And I'm tired of waiting a month, wait 3 weeks, because I get to go home to my kids that doesn't have this issue. These people live with this. And the way Scott just brought it out there, it is a prison. That they pay for, that they're paying for to live there.
All right, Lenny, you got a name for the management group?
Prime Management. I can get you their contact information and send it to you today, and I can tell you.
Send it all to me today, please.
Send it to all
I
of
can
us.
tell you the position of the management group is that the seniors who live there are the ones who bring in the bed bugs in, as well as us, the service providers. They've actually said in an email that we were the ones who are bringing it in because we go to all the people, and that the entire county has a bed bug problem.
I don't have any in my house. You got any in your house?
All right, well, you got a room full of people's attention, I can tell you that. All right, thanks, Lenny.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Any other comments?
He is such a blessing to this county.
Yes, I would second that sentiment, and some. Lenny is
Oh, he is.
a hard worker, and he's so caring, and he's a fighter, so I appreciate all the.
He's just amazing.
Lucky to have him.
I do think it has to be somewhere in the health department, maybe Michigan Health Department regulations.
I just got a
or,
text and it doesn't.
Because it is a communicable public health issue that that's the job of the health department to be addressing. If they have passed that off to somebody else, time to go back to
Yeah.
the health department.
Agreed. All right, any other comments? Appreciate all the conversation, it was good. I mean, let's see if we can fix this and figure it out. Hearing none, we'll adjourn until,
Are we
Oh.
gonna do one more public comment?
we did, that's what we were doing.
We've
I
already,
thought you were asking the,
No, go ahead.
I just wanna piggyback on this whole question of what would we do with those people if, you know, we had to move them out for 24 hours or whatever. One of the reasons that our county got onto the Merck list that we were on was because if we have an outbreak, we have not actually had a particular uptick in COVID. But if that happens, we have no facility in the county of Alcona. So what would we do? We would have to take people to Alpena or Tawas,
Right.
where I can attest to the fact that when my husband was dying at the Alpena hospital, he was frequently unable to be in the ICU there because they didn't have a bed for him to move to when
Yeah.
he had
Well, there
urinary
is-
tract infections, and so they have a very limited, I would guess that, I haven't actually heard, but I think maybe two ventilators in the whole ICU department there. So before you criticize the health department or the state of Michigan, think about what would happen in this rural, poor, elderly community should we have an uptick. The people in New York had a horrible time, and they didn't, you know, took a long time for the virus to get to the Midwest. Now the Midwest is suffering what New York, and New York, just because of their population density, had a huge problem. But the fact is that this county has a lot of things preventing.
There are some risk factors.
Huge outbreak. And I agree, I think if the county commissioners had asked to have a totally mutually supported by everybody in the county, change our designation in the Merck. We don't need to be with Saginaw. We have a different kind of population. But to sign that resolution that created more divisiveness and side taking and all of that stuff was really unnecessary to get across the message that we are a different county, we are very rural, and our numbers do not support the decision that was made. That's where I have a problem with that resolution.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to,
Well, you've already had your, if you want to go to lunch.
Take all 5 minutes, maybe.
the latter of the two. The resolution, I think, was more of a statement in regards to the edicts coming from Whitmer. Nobody wants to see anybody get sick and die. I trust my fellow citizens to do what is best for them, and I would not want to impose my will on anybody else because of how I feel about this disease. Frankly, I think it's here to stay. We're gonna have to deal with it forever and ever and ever. How afraid do you wanna be? And I think that's one of the things that the resolution addressed. I appreciate you guys for considering it and voting on it and approving it. Thank you very much.
Let's adjourn to finance.
All right, we've got a meeting after this and several other things, so thank you again for all the input, we appreciate it. This is what these meetings are, they, can be enjoyable. They can be unenjoyable, but this was good. Thank you.
Informative.
On that note, we'll be adjourned. Patty, I got something here for you. I don't know if you got to see this or not. I just want to make sure, because I think I said I was giving it to you, but,
Letters?
yeah, do you have them?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
On that topic though, did you guys check with Denise Bryan before you signed that resolution?
No, not on the resolution. No, on the letters, but not on the.
Yeah, no,
well, let me tell you
entirely
that Denise Bryant has never been allowed to comment on anything that this governor has put in place. They have not checked with local district health.
I'm
And,
asking.
Well, it's not true now. I mean, they
Well-
have, so they haven't.
well, just as of lately, but usually Denise would find out whatever was gonna happen at the press conference because they never got a heads up on it. And at 4 o'clock after the press conference,